IEAP-4. Hello, IEAP-4 students. I'm Mark Browne. Welcome to PUC Online Classroom. Today, we'll be looking at using subordinating conjunctions with the past continuous. This will be a supplementary lesson to your teacher's lesson. Okay, now, let's talk about how to use subordinating conjunctions with the past continuous. Past time clauses can be used for both simultaneous and interrupted activities, okay? So for simultaneous activities, let's have a look at that. We use the past continuous in both the time clause and the main clause when describing two simultaneous activities in the past, okay? Let's look at the example. So here we'll begin this sentence with the time clause. And remember, in these sentences, you can begin with the dependent clause or the main clause. It doesn't really matter. For this one, we'll begin with the dependent time clause. While I was reading a book, comma, and we have the main clause. So while I was reading a book, my girlfriend was chatting online. Now, let's talk about interrupted activities. So we use the past continuous in the time clause and the simple past in the main clause, okay, to describe interrupted activities. So let's look at this one. So we'll begin with the time clause. While I was watching a movie, I heard a gunshot. Okay, so simple past. Now, let's just look at another example. This time we'll begin with the main clause again. They heard an explosion, so simple past, when they were buying groceries. Okay, let's do our first lesson now. So what we're going to do is you're going to read each sentence and write S for simultaneous if the sentence has two simultaneous actions, or I for interrupted if the sentence has one action interrupting another action. Let's look at the example. Apple was designing a smartphone while other companies were still producing cell phones. Okay, so these are two actions happening at the same time, so we're going to give it an S. So let's have a look at the four questions I want you to do, okay? So number one, she learned to speak Khmer when she was living in Cambodia. And number two, he was fixing his motorcycle when the police arrived. Was fixing. And for number three, the power went out while we were eating pizza. And for the last one, he was lifting weights while his wife was using the treadmill. Okay, so spend a few minutes and decide if they are simultaneous or interrupted activities. Okay, now, let's have a look at these. So for number one, she learned to speak Khmer when she was living in Cambodia. Well, that would be a simultaneous activities, so let's give it an S. Number two, he was fixing his motorcycle when the police arrived. Okay, so the police arrived and basically interrupted him. So we will give that one an I. Let's look at number three again. The power went out while we were eating pizza, okay? The power interrupted their dinner eating pizza, so that would be an interrupted activity. We'll give that an I. And let's look at number four, the last one. He was lifting weights while his wife was using the treadmill. So here we have two simultaneous activities. We will give this one an S. Now, in a minute, we will do our last lesson. Okay, let's do our last lesson. So what we're going to do is you're going to complete each sentence with simultaneous or interrupted activities, okay, use while or when and the past continuous or simple past, okay? Let's look at the example I've done. We got, I was running on the path when a bear came out of the bush. So that would be an interrupted activity, okay? So let's spend a few minutes and I want you to do questions 1 to 4, please. Okay, let's have a look at these. So we have, for this one, she was living in Cambodia. What could we say? Well, we could say, when there was a national election. Okay, so again, she was living in Cambodia when there was a national election. That would be a simultaneous activity. Let's have a look at number 2. He was writing an email. What could we say for that? Well, we could say something like, when his computer crashed. So again, for number 2, he was writing an email when his computer crashed. So for this one, that would be an interrupted activity. Let's have a look at number 3 over here. I was listening to music. What could we say? Well, while my cat was sleeping beside me. Okay? Again, I was listening to music while my cat was sleeping beside me. So for that one, that would be 2 simultaneous actions happening at the same time. The last one, while I was walking down the street. Okay, what could we say for that? Well, we could say, I heard someone call my name. Okay, again, while I was walking down the street, I heard someone call my name. That would be an interrupted activity. Well, that's all for today. I hope you all learned something valuable. So stay safe and enjoy your studies on Online PUC Classroom.